the day, feel it melt away, where time cannot find me at all. Just a breath away, nothing here but heaven, nowhere but love to fall. As I go within, quiet peace offers something sacred. There's a sweetness that waits, holiest embrace that reminds me I'm always home. As I go within, quiet peace offers something sacred. There's a sweetness that waits, holiest embrace that reminds me I'm always home. It's here that I am always home.
As always, it is here that we're always home. Welcome, I'm Reverend Debbie McDonnell, and it's my honor to welcome you here this evening, to be here with you this evening. Our intention on Wednesday evenings, we have our Wednesday evening going within service, and our intention is just to set a space for you to be able to come midweek, reconnect, breathe, get centered, and just to have an opportunity to fill up once again. So we invite you this evening to be part of that. We'll be quiet for about the first 20 minutes. We'll do some meditation, and then we'll pick up a little bit. But I invite you to just soak up the silence and enjoy the quiet. And so we're going to start off with a prayer by practitioner Brian Atkins.
Please join me in turning within. And I know that God is all there is. God is that all-loving, all-caring source of divinity and inspiration that permeates everything and everyone. God is in the beauty and the solitude of the mountaintop. He is in the roar and the thunder of the ocean waves. And God is right here, right this very moment, expressing itself through each and every one of us here at Seaside today. And we are all one with God. We are one with this source of love and caring and compassion, closer to us than our breath. That is where God is. It is because of this that we are heir to all the wealth and all the riches of the universe, for we are God's essence. And I give thanks in advance in knowing that this service this evening unfolds in perfect divine order, that God is there each and every step of the way, and that everybody here receives exactly that which they are here for. As the words flow forth from Reverend Debbie McDonnell's lips, each of us is touched, each of us receives a shift, and we in turn take that message out into the world, and consciousness expands throughout the world. And so I simply turn this time over to the hands of God and know that it is perfect. And so it is.
So it is.
Now I invite any of you who have not come up and lit a candle to come up and light a candle, and Aria will lead us into meditation and song.
I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. Send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. It returns to me. I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. be so loved. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. Oh, divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it's in giving that we receive, and it's in pardon that we are pardoned, and it's in dying that we are born to eternal life. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it's in giving that we receive, and it's in pardon that we are pardoned, and it's in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen.
Good evening. My name is Brian Atkins, and I have been a practitioner here at Seaside for 12 years now. And I can't tell you how much I love the role of practitioner. I think it's wonderful. And I want to remind everybody that Trudy and I, Trudy Sefke and myself, will be standing outside of the west door there after service for anybody that might need prayer, support, anybody to talk to. We really get a lot of joy out of it, and hopefully you'll join us. This evening I will be delivering a reading, and tonight's theme is I Was Born for Greatness. And our reading this evening is by Marianne Williamson. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people will not feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We are born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone, and as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give others permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And now it is my opportunity to share with you a little bit of experience about myself. and hopefully reinforce the point that we are born for greatness, all of us, and it's so important that we believe that. When I was about 10 years old, I loved the game of baseball. But unfortunately, I was a terrible batter. Every time I got ready to go up to the plate, in my mind I was saying to myself, gosh, I hope I don't strike out. And of course, those of you who know anything about psychology know that what was entering my subconscious mind was strike out. Well, in this particular game, it was the game to see which team was going to go into the playoffs. And as we went into our final at-bats, we were behind by 1 run. And with 2 out and a man on second base, our coach announced a surprising event. Atkins, you are batting for Smith. Immediately, I was seized with fear. How can this guy put me into bat? I'm the strikeout king here. He knows I can't bat. I grabbed the bat and headed towards the plate. At that point, my body was feeling the aerobic benefits of total terror. My hands were sweating, my heart was palpitating, my knees were shaking. And as I moved up to the plate, my entire body felt petrified. And the first ball came in straight over the plate, and I just looked at it. And the umpire said, strike 1. And the next ball came in right over the plate, and I just looked at it. And the umpire said, strike 2. I stepped out of the batter's box. I was feeling completely overwhelmed. See, it's one thing if I get up there and the game doesn't matter and I strike out. And it's a completely different thing when each and every boy on my team is praying to God that I get a hit and advance our opportunity into the playoffs. I had my back against the wall. And suddenly I had a shift in consciousness. I thought to myself, I am going to get a hit. So the next ball came in right over the plate, and I swung, and I hit it just over the reach of the shortstop. That scored the guy from second base, giving us a tie game, and there I stood on first base, the potential winning run. Yes. And the next guy got up, and he hit a ball out to right field, and I put my head down, and I ran as fast as my little 10-year-old legs could carry me. And as I approached second base, I could see the third base coach waving me on, saying, come on. And I headed down to third base, and he said, waving me around, he headed on home. And just before I reached home plate, the ball came to the catcher, and we collided. And we dropped faster than the Chinese stock market. And suddenly, as he fell, his glove hit the ground, and the ball rolled out of his glove. And the umpire yelled, safe! Now, the experience I had just gone through was terrifying enough, but what I wasn't ready for was what happened next. Because suddenly, all the kids on our team suddenly piled out onto the field and on top of me. I was terrified, and then I realized we were celebrating. We had won the game, and we were going to the playoffs. Hallelujah! But what was interesting was what happened after that. Because after that, I started getting hits in almost every game. Because I no longer saw myself as the strikeout king. Suddenly, I began to see myself as a force to be reckoned with. And instead of going to plate thinking to myself, gosh, I hope I don't strike out, I was thinking, I can't wait to get another hit. And ladies and gentlemen, that is why it is so important that all of us believe that we are born for greatness. So please give a warm welcome to Reverend Debbie McDonnell, and I was born for greatness.
Thank you, Brian. That's beautiful. I'm good. I'll take this. Hi. That is so much fun. I love having our practitioners share their stories with us. You know, and the great part is that we get to know that our practitioners really know how to work these spiritual principles, right? It's great. Thank you, Brian, so much. I was born for greatness. That's what we're talking about tonight. Welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm glad that all of you are here, that you've decided to join us this evening. And the thing when I started, we come up with our talk titles months before we really write the talk because they want to know what we're going to be talking about. So then, I picked this title a while ago, and then so I start to think about, well, what does this mean to me? What is it? I was born for greatness. Born for greatness. What is that? And I really did resonate with the Marianne Williamson quote because I really do love that one, and it really speaks to me. And as I started thinking about it, what I came to know was that I came from a place of having no idea that I was born for greatness, having no idea really why were we here. I was one of those, and I think a lot of religious scientists are, that it was a seeker, that we're looking to find out, what does it all mean? Why are we here in these human bodies? Why are we even here on this planet? What's the purpose? What's the reason? What's the whole picture of what we're doing here? No, and I don't know if you've experienced that, but I certainly did, and I spent a lot of time. I really spent my whole life seeking and trying to come up with answers that made sense to me because so much of what I was born with or raised with didn't really make sense to me, the things that they were telling me. And I can remember being a really little girl and the nun saying, well, it's okay, you're not supposed to understand. You'll understand when you die. And that just didn't make sense to me. Like, what? I wanted to know now. I wanted to know what the whole universe was about and why we were here and what was happening, When I think about the last frontier, I don't really think of the last frontier as being space. I think the last frontier is really that frontier inward, that place that we go to when we're looking in and we're exploring the divine realm. Because to me, that is just a realm that's unfathomable. It's so deep and so rich that the exploration could go on for centuries and generations and eons to understand all that's there. And the very word metaphysical, metaphysics, we're metaphysicians, right? Religious scientists, we practice metaphysics. And metaphysics means beyond the physical. That's the literal translation of it. So we're really looking at things that are beyond this physical body, things that we can't really see or touch or feel or taste. We're looking at things that are in another realm that we can't really put our hands on. In the quote that Brian read, the Marianne Williamson quote, it's actually from the book A Return to Love. And it's often quoted that Nelson Mandela actually used that quote. Well, that's not actually correct. He never did use that quote. But it is from Marianne Williamson's A Return to Love. And it's in chapter 7 of her book, which is the chapter on work. And more specifically, it's in the section on personal power. As I went back and I looked at that and I was seeing what came before it and what came after it, and she talks a lot in that chapter about ego. Now, Marianne Williamson's work, as most of you probably know, is based on A Course in Miracles, and that's her background and that's where she comes from. And in The Course in Miracles, the ego, which we know, or maybe you have never heard, ego, etching God out. I like that. But in The Course of Miracles, it says that the ego's job is separation. That was profound to me. The ego's job is separation. So the ego is trying to get us to be in that place of separation. And we know in religious science that all disease, all lack, all limitation, any thought of anything less than comes from the idea of separation, the idea that we forgot that we were one with the divine. So if that is the ego's job, we want to be aware of what that ego is doing in our lives, don't we? To remember that there is only one being and one source and one energy, and it is God and it is good, and we are one with it, that we cannot be separated from it. Ernest Holmes, in his book called This Thing Called You, and I don't know if you've read that book, it's a little tiny book of Ernest, and if I had to go and live on a desert island with only a couple books, I would take This Thing Called You, This Thing Called Life, and Creative Mind and Success. Those are some of Ernest's very earliest books. They're little things to read, but they are so full of information and so rich with the science of mind principles. And what he says in This Thing Called You, he's talking about the power. He's talking about this power that we're talking about, this personal power. And that gets very confused sometimes in religious science circles. If you ever sit with a religious scientist and talk about personal power, it can be like, remember we talked about earlier that stage 2 power where it's being done by me and I am powerful and I am God and I am doing it, But we move into that stage 3, it's really being done through us, isn't it? It's being done through us. And that's the power that Ernest is talking about here. The power is in you. The greatest adventure of your life lies in your conscious use of this power. You need not believe in any particular religious system to discover the wellspring of life. It's not attached to any particular belief system. You find it at the center of your own being, in the quiet of the evening, in the stillness of the night, at the dawn of a new day, and in the midst of activity. You need not mold your life after another. Trust yourself. Believe in your direct relationship with life, and you will not be disappointed. Do not wait. Today is the day to start. Right where you are is the place to begin. So we don't need anybody or anything to do it for us. That power is within us. It's not someplace out here that we're seeking for and looking for. Have you ever had that belief that you were not enough? I know I have. And then another day I might have that belief that I'm so much better than. Have you ever had that experience? Like you're either at the bottom of the pea pile or you're way up here. And it's that idea of the egomaniac with an inferiority complex. And I could really relate to that, And there's some days I was all that, and some days I was like not all that. And when I came to believe that it wasn't about any of that, it wasn't about succeeding and getting to the top of the pile. And it wasn't about being a doormat and being underneath everybody. In fact, there was no comparison necessary whatsoever. What my job was to be me, to be authentically me. That there's really no greater than or less than except in math. We are all equal. We're all unique. We're all individual expressions of the divine. And that is really our job, to be who we are, to be who we were born to be our unique self, to be who nobody else can be but us. We're the only one that can do us. Can you imagine a world if all of our little children were told from the day that they were born that their job was to be authentically themselves? To go out and be you. Go out and be you. Could you imagine what that had been like if every day when you went off to school, your parents said, go out and be you. Be the brightest, be the boldest, be the most magnificent you can be. That, to me, is awesome. I don't know how many of us spent our time comparing ourselves to the other children, comparing ourselves to the other adults. We didn't measure up, or we were better than. It was always this comparison thing going on. Instead of just saying, I'm being authentically me. Am I being authentically the best me that I possibly can be? In the movie The Help, I don't know if you've all seen the movie The Help, but I really, can think of that, the scene where Viola is saying to little May Mobley, you are kind, you are smart, you are important. And little May Mobley has Viola telling her that every morning, every day that she's there, to remind her that she is this magnificent expression of spirit. And we have Source every day whispering in our ear, you are amazing, you are perfect, you are magnificent, exactly the way you are. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to earn my love. You are just perfect, just how you are, for just being you. As a parent, I really felt like that was my job. In raising my children, I really felt, and I feel blessed that I kind of got this. And the reason that it was so important to me is because I came from a place of such low self-esteem. It wasn't until I started my own spiritual journey that I realized how little I liked myself. And how little self-esteem and self-worth I had. And I had to really work at healing that and coming from that place of loving myself and loving whom I who I am, and believing that I was this beautiful expression of the divine. I think I knew it when I was born, but somewhere along the way, I lost it. So it was really important to my children, and I must say especially to my daughter, because statistically, when little girls begin school, their self-worth goes down where little boys go up. And so it was really important to me, and I did it with both of them, but that they knew that they were perfect exactly the way they were. That my job was to support that little spark of the divine that was in them, to fan the flame that they came into this world with. To let them know that they were perfect exactly the way they were. I wasn't one of those parents that thought they had to join this or do this or be in the AP class or any of that. It was, what do you want to do? If they expressed an interest in something, I encouraged them. If they decided they didn't like that anymore, I let it go. I let them sort of be who they were along the way. And I may have created two little monsters, I'm not sure, but they actually like who they are. And they're okay trying stuff. And they believe that they can do just about anything. And there's sometimes a mom in me wants to say, oh, well, you might want to, and I go, well, who am I? Who am I to diminish their brightness? Who am I to put out their light? Who am I? To let them shine, to let them be. So I was their cheerleader, I was their supporter, and I created a safe place for them to land, a safe place for them to come home and say, it didn't work out so good, nobody sat with me at lunch, and the things that happen at school and beyond. But I think of that as all of us, that if we can just encourage ourselves in that same way. Marianne Williamson in the book, she tells a story of a little girl, and I love this story. She tells a story of a little girl who's in class, and she paints a purple tree, and she shows her teacher the picture of the purple tree. And her teacher says, well, sweetheart, I've never seen a purple tree, now have I? And the little girl says, oh, I'm so sorry. Paint purple trees. Jump through rainbows. Dance in the rain, walk in a rainforest, do what you love to do, explore bugs if that's your thing, do what it is that makes your heart sing. In the quote that Brian read, it says, your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. Oh, I just love that. I just love that. We were made to shine. Do you sometimes think that if you're too much, you'll diminish other people? There can be nothing that's farther from the truth. Our light does not cast a shadow on anybody. Our light just lights up the whole room. And we give space for somebody else to bring their light forward. When you're silly, your friends have permission to be silly. Have you ever noticed that? Sometimes in a crowd, I think you can tell when you go to a restaurant, like if you're in a restaurant and you have little children with you and they're maybe not being so well behaved, and you can look around and you can see the parents that are smiling and like, yeah, been there, done that. And you can see the people that have never had a child ever. Looking at you like, could you keep that kid quiet, please? It's that idea of allowing people to be exactly who they are and where they are. Not putting out somebody's light. My spiritual mentor used to say to me, we've been criticized enough. We've been criticized enough. And she always was really careful in mentoring that it was always uplifting. We were raised, many of us, and not all of us, but some of us, with criticism and critique. And look at Johnny, look at Susie, why aren't you like them? Because I'm not, because I'm me. Wouldn't that have been great to be able to say that? Well, I'm just me. I'm going to be me. I'm going to be me today. Emerson says that every man is a doorway through which the infinite passes into the finite, through which God becomes man, through which the universal becomes the individual. And I want to propose that that is the reason that we are here. That is the reason that we're here on this planet, is because we are the doorway through which Spirit expresses. When I was a little girl, there was a rhyme, and I've looked on the internet to try to find the rest of it, but all I remember is, I am the place that God shines through. He and I are one, not two. And I remember loving that as a little girl, just knowing that I was like the window that God was shining through. You know, that He and I were one, not two. That God is in me, through me, as me. You know, you resonate with those truths, even though we don't know they're truths when we're little. You know, we are here to bring forth God's love. Isn't that amazing that that's really our job, if you think about it? That we are here to be that vessel through which more love can be expressed into the world. And if each and every one of us were operating that way on a daily basis, wouldn't it be a magnificent world? That we were just spreading the love, spreading the love. You know, Friday night here, we have the show, The Godspell, going on, and many of the songs I'm sure you all know because you've heard them a million times. But one of the songs is Day by Day. Day by day. 3 things I pray: to see thee more clearly, to honor thee more, to love thee more dearly, and to follow thee more nearly, day by day, day by day. You know, it's throughout all this time that we can find these clues of why we're here. You know, we're here, as Emerson said, we're here as the Broadway show says, we're here as the nursery rhyme says, you know, the old Baltimore Catechism where I was raised, which we're here to love, honor, and serve God. We've talked about that before, you know. And by serving God, it truly means by being you. By being me, that's how I serve. By being me, my brightest version of myself, not some dull version. Being me like the Technicolor me. You know, like when Dorothy lands on the witch in The Wizard of Oz and she opens the door and everything turns to color. You know, that's the version of you that I encourage you to be, the full Technicolor version. You know, we ask, what is our work to do in the world? You know, what is our work to do in the world? Why am I here? Why was I born? What is my purpose? What is my work to do in the world? And I think it's important to remember that our real work is to serve God. Our real work is to serve humankind. We are here for each other. We are here to support each other. We are here to love each other, to minister to the human heart. Each one of us has a ministry. You know, wherever we work, that's our ministry. We've talked about our address book being our ministry, our family, our friends, that we are that example of the divine. We are that example of love in the world, and that we can be that for each other. There's a quote in the Marianne Williamson book that I'm going to read you because she just says it so beautifully, and I couldn't really paraphrase it, so I just want to read it to you. She says this is that same chapter. This is following the quote that Brian read. A miracle worker is an artist of the soul. There's no higher art than living a good life. An artist informs the world of what's available behind the masks we all wear. That's what we're all here to do. The reason so many of us are obsessed with becoming stars is because we've not yet starring in our own lives. The cosmic spotlight isn't pointed at you. It radiates from within you. I used to feel like I was waiting for someone to discover me, to produce me, like Lana Turner, she says, at the Doug store. Ultimately, I realized that the person I was waiting for was myself. If we wait for the world's permission to shine, we will never receive it. The ego doesn't give that permission, only God does, and He's already done it. He has sent you here as His personal representative and is asking you to channel His love into the world. Gives me chills. Are you waiting for a more important job? There isn't one. So, you were born for greatness. I encourage each of you to go out this week and shine your star brightly. God bless you. And here's Aria with our song.
Inspired by Am I Wrong, Nico and Vince. It's not that song, but you'll hear a little bit of that. Ooh, 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 ooh. I was born to achieve the greatest things that I can dream. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, I was born to create the greatest version of me and live it. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I was born nothing less than all that I can be today. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's me. Oh, ooh, ooh. How far that I can go, how to play the game that I know, my game. Who are you? Telling me how big that I can grow. No one knows the things that I know. I know that I was born to achieve the greatest things that I can dream. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, I was born to create the greatest version of me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, I was born nothing less than all that I can be today. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, oh, that's me. Ooh, 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 ooh. Who does it serve when I play small? It don't do nobody any good at all. Makes me weak when I need to be standing tall. Who does it serve when I play small? It don't do nobody any good at all. Makes me weak when I need to be standing tall. Ooh, ooh, ooh. We were born to achieve the greatest things we can dream. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, we were born to create the greatest version of we. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, we were born nothing less than all that we can be today. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's me. Ooh, ooh. So if you were born for greatness, let's sing some oohs together. Ooh, 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 ooh. One last time. Ooh.
Wow, thank you.
How fun is that?
Yes.
Did
you
you
write
notice that
for
it's
tonight?
crocheted sweater day?
Yeah, we got the same stylist today. What do you think?
I think we should sing happy birthday.
Oh,
Because it's Debbie's birthday today and she's 29 again.
again.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Debbie.
Thank you.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was
Hello,
fun.
Virgo.
Yeah. Did you write that?
I wrote this. today.
For
at
today.
3 o'clock this
See,
afternoon.
isn't she amazing? I mean, that is pretty amazing. As I said, that sure fit pretty good if she didn't write it, but that was really great.
Well, I mean, if any of you know the other song that I mentioned.
I heard a little bit of that
it's
in there.
in there,
Yeah, I heard
yeah.
that,
So I had to mention that.
Yeah, gave credit where credit was due. Thank you, Aria. Thank you all for singing for my special day. Yes? Why, thank you. Well, thank you. I thought I kept it really quiet. No. Well, it is our time for giving, and thank you. You give me so much. You absolutely do. But it is a time of our service for our collection. So I ask the ushers to come forward, please. We have Dennis and Melissa. Thank you for being here tonight and serving. And those wonderful practitioners and members here at Seaside that just serve and they give, and they are that love of the divine. And I'm so grateful to have you and be part of our spiritual community together. So just knowing that it is that time for that you're able to practice the law of reciprocity, you're able to practice some of these spiritual principles that we teach here. So as you give, you receive. And that's not the reason that we give, but it certainly is a lovely reason to be part of all the flow in the universe. So will you join with me in the prosperity prayer? As I give thanks for the good now flowing into my life, I gladly share that good with others. The more I give, the more I receive. I experience a deeper consciousness of peace and security for knowing that I am in the embrace of a warm, loving presence forever seeking an outlet through me. My cup runneth over. I exist in limitless possibilities. Thank you. Just a couple of announcements. First of all, I want to just take a moment, bear with me. We're going to play the trailer from the Godspell show that's going to be here this Friday. Karen Copeland is going to be in the family room selling tickets afterwards. We are well over 100 tickets sold. We invite you to come. They sold out in Los Angeles. They're playing tonight up in the Orange County, and Friday night's the last one here in San Diego. You want to run that for us?
A group of individuals have gathered downtown today in protest. The head of the party is a man named Jesus Christ. Sources say that he may be dangerous.
Oh God of mercy, reign, not kings and lords but nations, not thrones and crowns but men, flowers of thy heart, oh God our King. Let them not pass like
Stand up. Stand up. You're a little rough, you know. Put your hands down.
What are you arresting him for?
He's coming with us.
You're hurting him.
What? Right now? Move.
No, not you!
Long live God. Long live God. Long live God. Long live God.
Yay, so buy your ticket Friday night here. Also, we have classes going on. Karen is teaching a class starting Saturday morning. Hermetic law and science of mind, the similarities and the differences. So if you have questions about that, talk to Karen. She can tell you all about that. And that starts this Saturday morning. Dr. Christian's foundation class started last night, but it's not too late to join. You can join this coming week as well, Tuesday night. Dr. Kathy Hearn will be teaching financial freedom if you're looking at a way to oil the wheels on your finances. And Dr. Christina Tillotson is teaching Essential Earnest. The catalogs are out there. There's lots of other enrichment courses. I invite you to take a look and see what's being offered. A reminder, let's see, Reverend Lori Mack is here next week with E Squared. She'll be doing that very class starting Monday night, E Squared. So that's with Reverend Lori Mack. The following Wednesday is her going within service, or her Taizé service. The 5th Wednesday of the month, we always do more of a Taizé service. And then on October 7th, I'll be on vacation, but Dr. Kathy Hearn is going to be here for you. So put that on your calendar for the first Wednesday in October. Dr. Kathy is going to be here. I want to thank everybody that made tonight possible. You're all so sweet to honor me for my birthday. I appreciate that. And we have Trudy holding the light for us. Thank you, Trudy. And remember, her and Brian will be over outside by the chapel for prayer afterwards. Thank you to Ginny and Dennis for being here. Melanie for sound, thank you so very much. Gregory on the podcast, thank you for bringing Wednesday nights to people's homes. We really appreciate it. We appreciate you all watching. Thank you. Aria and Jim, I love you both. Thank you so much. Yay, thank you, thank you. And so I think, Vicky's going to open the bookstore for us afterwards. We got all kinds of new goodies in there. And now we're going to pray. So if you have anybody in your mind that you'd like to add to this prayer, please just bring them to mind now and hold them in your mind as we go into this place of this spiritual, the prayer that we're going to be doing here, and just know that they're included in our prayer. So simply turning within and knowing there is only that one presence and that one power, and that it is good, and it is God, and it is love, and it is source. And there's nothing besides the divine. Either God is everything or God is nothing. And I say God is everything. God is all that there is. That I know that I am one with this source. I know that I am one with this love. And just as I know this is true for me, I know it's true for each one here. I know that each one here is a perfect, individualized, unique expression of the divine. That each one is the love of God. Each one is the hand of God. Each one is the face of God here on this planet. And I'm so grateful to be walking in this path with each and every one. I am so grateful to be part of this spiritual community. And I know for each one that as they're walking this path, that there is a sense of belonging, a sense of fellowship, a sense of expansion. They live in that world of abundance. They live in the world of fulfilled dreams, knowing that everything is at peace in each one's life. And I know for every prayer that's in our prayer request chest that prayer has already been answered, that there is an instantaneous yes by the divine anytime something is asked. It is the Father's good pleasure to give us the kingdom. And so with that sense of absolute knowingness, with the rightness of it all, that I just simply release these words in the divine nature of the law, knowing it is so, and so it is. I invite you to stand and join us for our closing song. I have my Nicolette back.
Love is my decision. It's up to me to give up my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, love will show me how. Love is my decision, right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down that road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, love will show me how. Love
decision, right here and now. My decision, right here and now.
God bless you. Join us for refreshments. Thank you.
Day by day, day by day. Oh, dear Lord, three things I pray.
See thee more clearly, love thee more dearly, follow thee more